From Tally to Cali.
It's time
to wake up.
Wake up. Wake up.
Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, presented by Zaxby's.
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan Hajavandi
and Corey Clark.
Proudly presented by Zaxby's. Indescribably good. I can describe my dinner last night, though. It was amazing. 5, count them, 5 chicken fingers, 2 tubs of Zax sauce, all sorts of goodness going on in the Midtown offices the other night. I'm sure, though, that Corey Clark had a better day than I did because he's Corey Clark. That's what happens when you go through life like that. What's going on, Corey Clark?
5 seems like a lot. Is that your normal order, 5?
No, I went for the gusto. I went for it all.
Hey, I mean, I get it, man. Zaxby's is the truth. If my stomach could hold it, like if I was in college, I might be able to put away 6 or 8 of them. Now I'm more of me and Brady will split 5. So it's like 2.5 each, or I'll eat 3, he'll eat 2. But putting 5 in myself, because I like to slather it in the Zax sauce.
Yeah.
I got my fried mushrooms, my spicy mushrooms. I don't know if I have all that stomach space. But you're a grown boy still. But, hey, I did have a pretty good
season.
Day. What?
It's bulking season right now, Corey.
It is. That's right. It's sweater weather.
Yeah.
You don't have to look good. And by the time, if they see that you don't look great under the sweater, they're
too late.
Something good has happened.
Too late.
Yeah. How rude would that be? I never even thought about that. Like, oh, wait, this isn't what I signed up for. Let's pump the brakes. But I got my mom vaccine appointment. It hasn't been going great up here in Georgia with the vaccine distribution. I'll be frank with you, not going great. Indiana's vaccinated more people. I think only Alabama has a lower percentage of the population that's been vaccinated. But Wednesday, hopped right online. I checked every couple of hours for the last week, found an appointment, got her one. She's good to go for Friday. So I'm feeling pretty excited about that.
Let's go. All right,
She's
man.
78, so it's good to get her first dose, and hopefully we'll get the second one too in a couple weeks.
I love it. Good stuff. Trying something new today as well, Corey. I'm standing up. I think I'm going to try to stand up for the duration of the show.
Oh, why?
As we discussed in our group text message with Ira, like my body's just falling apart on me, my back, lower back problems. I just sit down too much. Been sitting down for years, decade plus, just sitting down, doing nothing, just sitting. So I'm going to try to stand up. Maybe it'll give me some more mental clarity as well. Maybe I can be more of a functioning cog into this machine of Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source, promo code Warchant30. Speaking of that gnarly website, our own Ira Schofel reported this on Wednesday night. Apparently, the University of Texas and Steve Sarkisian are in the market for a linebacker coach and may be kicking the tires on Chris Marv. Some more details over on the Tribal Council. We'll leave that to our valued subscribers to be able to kind of access. Interesting to say the least, because, golly, these linebackers did not perform well at all. So maybe that just kind of shows you that they were hopeless to a certain degree and that this guy is a good coach. So if the nickel back works out and the defensive ends can do something, maybe it'll be all right after all. A nice note in there from Ira that kind of gives you some context if you're worried about Texas and their deep pockets and that oil money. Outgoing linebackers coach made $600,000. Chris Marv made $520,000. So Florida State competitive. But have you looked at the portal, my friend, today? Lots of prospects.
No, is it big news? They getting some good prospects out there?
Poppin', as the kids say, Corey. Poppin'.
Okay.
A good offense, a JUCO offensive lineman that went to Tennessee, Jameer Johnson, who played, I think, 13 games, maybe a little bit more than that, at both left guard and left tackle. Gone. Quavaris Crouch, as everyone knows, part of the infamous 2019 spring tour that took Michael Langston and I to the Queen City of Charlotte to interview him and one-time commitment Sam Howell. Crouch was at one point the number 1 overall prospect in the entire nation in 2019. He gone.
Okay.
Eric Gray, which, man, he's a good running back. probably better than DJ Williams.
Okay.
But, who could have seen this coming? They'd only been talking about Tennessee maybe getting the hammer dropped on him for the last month. You can't get them all. He gone. And then Henry Tutu, four-star linebacker who graded out horribly. Really just not grade out well at all. But I know a dude that's a huge Tennessee fan, and he loves Henry Tutu. And so does the internet. Everybody talking about, former four-star linebacker Henry Tutu, puts his name in the portal, huge defensive leader for the Vols. So maybe he's just one of those guys that just, he's got street smarts but doesn't do well in the classroom or something like that.
Okay.
So there's some sort of disconnect there, but I know that all the Tennessee fans love this Henry Tutu guy, but he didn't grade out well at all. But yeah, those four dudes all in the span of, I think, 45 minutes all said deuces.
Yeah, you kind of saw that coming, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't feel like there's so much. Well, number one, they don't know who their head coach is going to be, right? Is it Kevin Steele right now?
Do
we even know who the interim is? I mean, that worked out exactly how my man was planning it to work out. It worked out perfectly for him after he got fired at Auburn, right? They all did.
Yeah, they didn't retain him. Harsin, went and got Derek Mason from Vanderbilt. So
yeah, he made a power play at Auburn, didn't work out for him. And now he goes to Tennessee knowing that they're about to get hit with what they got hit with, I'm sure. So, yeah, he'll probably try. He's definitely going to try to turn that into a full-time gig. We'll see if that happens. But, yeah, man, these players don't know Kevin Steele. And they have no idea if they're even going to be eligible to play in bowls and are eligible to compete for championships or how many scholarships are going to be reduced. So, yeah, I'm surprised it was only 4. I figured it would have been like half the team. But it's just the first day.
The night is young, Corey Clark.
Yeah, you're right.
The night is young. Also being reported by our own Gene Williams, the founder, owner, administrator of Warchant.com. Potential spring date of April 10th, possibly. April 10th, possibly your spring football game, a.k.a. Garnet and Gold football game.
By that time, right? What is that? 3 months,
yeah.
2.5 months away? It's 80 days away, right?
Yeah.
We might be, me and you might be vaccinated by then. My mom will be, so
true.
at least so she can go. But yeah, so I would have liked it to have been a little later. That seems like 1 week later than normal, if at all, 4 days later than normal. I thought my personal opinion would have been why not delay it 2 or 3 weeks, but it's also tentative. We'll see what they end up doing. But it would have been. I feel like late April is the way to go. Maybe have it around Mother's Day.
Yeah,
like early May. That would have been a good time for it.
And if you do the math and count backwards, which I did not do, Gene was kind enough to do it. You're probably looking at first week of March as the start date for spring 2021. Man, football.
Wouldn't it make sense? I've always thought this, if I was running a college football program, I don't know what the parameters are as far as, can you have a spring practice into June? Is there I guess it has to be done by the time school is out. So if Florida State's spring semester ends May 20th, they have to be done by then. But I would have it as late as possible. Because number one, usually all the guys that have had their offseason surgery, they can't go. But if you waited a month or 2 months, maybe more people would be able to go. And it's also closer to the actual season. So I feel like instead of taking 5 months off after your spring, you're only taking 2.5 months off and you retain most of it. I don't know. I feel like I'd rather have a 5-month gap and then have my spring in April and May than in March and April. I don't know. Just me.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Then you just have June and July off.
Yeah, you'd almost think, spring football almost becomes a continuation of the 2020 season.
Yeah.
It's a matter of 2 months of you not being together, and then it's you're right back at it. Why not make it a complete clean slate? Because that's what the summer then becomes.
So what do you get? Is it 15 practices, right?
Yeah.
So what if you did 8 practices in March, spaced them out, and then the other 7 practices in May?
Nah, that's not.
So you don't want to do that? You want more continuity?
Yeah, I'm all about doing it later, but then you'd have to run it, just consecutively do it all.
Yeah.
You don't want to, okay. Like us doing a show and then taking a whole bunch of time off. You get rusty, man. You gotta, build,
you're right.
Build the culture.
And it's just me spitballing. It's just me spitballing out here. I might practice at 6 a.m. I don't care. I don't care. I'll do anything. I'm crazy.
Also, some of the enrollees are here. They got numbers and stats, and their weights and heights are all listed. Shout out to Jackson West. Jackson West just looks like an insurance salesman.
Okay.
So that's the only thing I'm bringing the heat on when it comes to that. Welcome to Tallahassee, though, Jackson. He's from Huntsville
Action
to Rocket
Jackson.
City, which
That's
I think
right.
now is apparently going to be the home of our space program or something. Like something's
The
leaving
Space
Colorado
Force,
Springs.
is that in Huntsville? Is that headquartered in Huntsville?
Something's leaving Colorado and going to Alabama and going to Huntsville. So
Oh, all right.
Rocket City.
Who's our guy that calls us from Huntsville? He hadn't called in a while.
Joseph, come on, man.
Come on,
from
Joseph.
Huntsville. Joseph from
Where's
Huntsville.
our man? Where's our man Joe?
I don't know. He's around. Otherwise, all right, should we get on the ponies? Do a little Renegade Express then, Corey? Was there anything else you wanted to discuss? Anything pertinent to what's going on with us?
No. I think I updated everyone on my mom's vaccine, which was first and foremost what everybody needed to hear.
Absolutely.
That's what everybody was on pins and needles about that. And other than that, no, nothing at all, really.
And I'm still standing up 10 minutes into the show.
Man, here we go.
I'm saying this is crazy.
New world.
All right, let's start with Drill Sergeant Porter, who probably mocks and scoffs at the fact that I'm bragging about being on my feet for 10 minutes in a row. Wake up! Corey asked for it. Here it goes. I, Drill Sergeant Porter, became a Florida State University football fan on November 26, 1988, when I was 5 years old, living in Cincinnati, Ohio. I hated the boring Big Ten. I saw FSU and Florida getting ready to play, and I was like, look at those helmets. And there's a horse? So now it is until death do us part. I even have the old logo tattooed on my ribs. Ouch. After our last national title to go along with my many other tattoos.
On your ribs.
Oof. I mean, that's no-blooded right
Okay,
there.
so obviously Drill Sergeant Porter has tats everywhere, right?
He says, to go along with his many other tattoos.
Oh, okay, I didn't hear that part. Because I was going to say, that's not where you start.
No.
You're just looking for fresh canvas at that point because you've run out of arm or neck or whatever. So, that's, man, I can't. I'm just feeling my ribs right now. Can you imagine?
No.
Boy.
No.
All right. Well, I bet for some reason I get the idea Drill Sergeant Porter is probably a little bit tougher than you and I.
Safe assumption.
Probably a safe assumption, yeah.
Anyway, I've got two ideas for Wake Up Warchant merchandise for the show. The first,
Let's
a
hear it.
shirt that simply says, Wake Up, on the front.
Yeah.
All right.
That's not a bad one. And on back it has, I don't know, just Wake Up Warchant, whatever. What would it say?
We need a
Just wake
classic
up,
line.
period?
What did Daryl from Thomasville, North Carolina say the other day? Like, we're the best thing this side of heaven?
Yeah, there you go.
Maybe put that on
Yeah,
there.
that's the quote. Yeah, the best thing this side of heaven.
Yeah, there we go. All right. Second thing, giant foam finger we can wave on pass breakups that say, Wake Up Warchant, no fly zone.
Okay. Now, I don't know if I can get on board with a giant foam finger because that's my one. What do you call it? Like
Bugaboo? Pet peeve?
I can't touch it. It's like
Ooh.
nails on a chalkboard. I can't touch rubber foam.
Okay.
It freaks me out. It makes my skin crawl.
Oh.
So I can't, like the thought of putting my hand in one of those, literally my fist is in a ball right now. And I'm like Rain Man. I'm starting to punch myself. I don't know why. That's a weird thing. So I can't really get, it's not a bad idea. I'm just saying, well, I guess I'm not buying it. It's not merch for me. So yeah, that's a good idea. The no-fly zone, sure.
But it needs to be like a clown finger because, wagging your finger.
Yeah, anytime they do a finger wag when they're not supposed to,
Yeah.
that's when you wave it.
But at the same time, Corey's mentioned it, and I agree with it. I co-sign with it. Like, I do want players, like you can celebrate.
Yeah.
Like Coach Hudgevandy's going to let you celebrate. We just need to be doing some really super things though to celebrate. Like we're not going to celebrate the ordinary. Like you do extraordinary stuff, we're going to celebrate it.
Think about the way I would phrase it when I was trying to make that point to a player I was coaching. If I was a coach, it's like if you're up 55-6, and some kid busts a 80-yard touchdown run late in the fourth quarter and high steps the last 5 yards and then beats his chest and throws his hands to the sky, what would you think of that person? And the answer should be, well, he's a clown. Like, and he doesn't care about the rest of the game. And that's, I mean, the kid can be happy that he scored. Nobody wants him to just, you don't have to be Barry Sanders and toss the ball back to the official and act like you're not having any fun. But you also have to know time, score, awareness, what it looks like, what really matters. All that stuff should come into it. If you score a touchdown with 2 minutes left to give your team the lead, man, literally go do a handstand. We don't care. Go get a boombox and put it on your shoulder. That's fine, but just know when you're down by 4, or if you didn't even make a good play. Yeah. I think that's even a bigger point. But yeah, right? I think kids, if you put it in context, they can understand. A kid hitting a 3-pointer down by 40 and taking an arrow out of his bow and shooting it to the sky. That looks ridiculous. So just try not to look ridiculous. Be excited. Be happy that you made a play. Have some competitive spirit about you. Just don't look ridiculous.
Jay Ricard. I don't know if we should read this. I don't remember Jay Ricard ever being on the Express, and hasn't checked in about his location and his famous residence, but we persevere nonetheless.
Right.
I heard Dilly say we were limited on offense in the fall because of lack of knowledge of the playbook. They stuck to a script for the first couple of series throughout the fall, and we looked good. Heck, great on those drives. Do you foresee this being an issue if Mackenzie Milton gets the nod at quarterback? I don't recall that. Did they ever say that?
He might have said like that just the experience factor, and they couldn't, basically they had 2 quarterbacks that couldn't practice. The 2 guys they wanted to compete, maybe Chuba was the guy they really wanted to get the job right away, but he broke his collarbone, and then Jordan Travis was out. So they weren't able to run the offense the way that they needed to run the offense in the build up to the season. So they had to dumb it. I hate the phrase dumb it down. They had to strip down, simplify what they could do, because Chuba and Jordan are not dumb kids. They had to simplify what they could do when those 2 guys were playing, especially with Jordan Travis early on, because he just hadn't practiced a lot in that offense. We're hoping theoretically that Mackenzie Milton will not have that same issue, that he will be able to go full bore in the spring, whenever it is, and that his nose will be into the playbook, and he will know what he needs to know by the time September rolls around, if he's the starting quarterback. But no, I don't foresee that being a problem if they can stay healthy.
Yeah. No, I think Mackenzie Milton has such a firm grasp of just the game of football. I mean, he played at such a high level at UCF that what he's coming into here is not going to be anything too foreign to him. It's going to be different, obviously, some different terminology, things like that. But when you perform that well, man, you find a way of kind of keeping it rolling no matter where you go. Plus, I do think that this staff has no qualms about tailoring stuff to their guys. Maybe there's a certain term that just makes more sense, clicks quicker in his head for him. I wouldn't see Norvell or Dillingham like, no, man, when we call a play to the right, we say ram. That's what we do. And he's like, no, I don't want to say right. We said, I don't know, another thing that starts with an R. We said rhino. Like, they're not going to be like, no, we're not changing it for you. Ram's what we do. I mean, they'll adapt things around him.
What about rhubarb?
Ooh. When's the last time you had a good slice of that, bud?
I've never had rhubarb.
Oh, that's Cameron.
Pie.
Cameron's
yeah,
the rhubarb.
Cameron loves it. I wouldn't eat a sweet rhubarb pie. Life's too short, man. All right. To be wasting stomach space on, pie. I'm not a huge pie guy anyway, but rhubarb pie, you miss me with that. Come on.
I'm all about this. I'm all about
apple pie. That's what I go for. Sweet, apple pie.
Do we talk about it enough? Did we talk about it enough? Should we talk about it more just about how good they did look on those opening drives of so many games? And I
thought so, right? I think I wrote about it. I know I spoke on here about it, that, again, what they did in special teams, the jump they made there, again, they weren't incredible. They weren't the best in the country, but they were improved. And then, the way they could coach those first 10 or 15 plays that were scripted, they coached the bejesus out of them. And they were almost always really good on those first drives. That should be encouraging. Now imagine when you get when they know all of the plays, and you can rep 70 of them or 50 of them, and they can run them at that and they can execute at that level. It should look better, obviously, than it did in 2019. In 2020 and 2019 for that matter. But what I was going to say is, when it comes to Mackenzie Milton, I think also what helps with somebody like him is he knows what it takes. Yeah. Like, he knows what it takes to execute and compete at this level. I don't know that he's any smarter than, like, intelligence-wise than Jordan Travis. Jordan Travis is a bright guy. Chubba Purdy seems like a bright guy. But he obviously has the experience of knowing what it really means to know a playbook and to watch film, and more importantly, just having the experience of the success that comes along with that. He's had success doing it like that, so that only breeds more success, typically.
And in big games. They had conference championship games he played at and performed really well at. And then say what you will about those New Year's Six bowl games, whether Auburn or LSU wanted to be there, blah, blah, blah. Although I don't think he played against LSU. I think he got injured before that one. I think that might have been Dylan Gabriel. He performed really – he performed well enough to top Auburn en route to the national championship. So these things are important. I'm telling you, I was looking at the roster because it's updated, Corey, and just looking at these faces. And I'm like, oh, that's right. That guy's here. He's going to play that position that guy played last year. Okay, that's better. A little bit of Kool-Aid dripping over the Midtown office, but we're going to keep it in check.
All right. Okay. Yeah. Let's hold it. Let's be cautiously optimistic. Yeah. That's the motto of our show.
Yeah. Okay, man. That goes on the back of the T-shirt. Wake up!
Yeah.
Cautiously optimistic.
Can't get any worse, can it? That's the quote.
That's it. Sold. Done. Print the shirts. XDQ004. Wake up! First time on the Renegade Express. I am from Clio, South Carolina. No famous people from Clio. However, Aziz Ansari is from the next town over where his father is a physician. Judges, does that count? Is that good?
I think that counts,
okay.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. 2 questions. 1, are you guys going to do any war chats this summer? Probably now. Thanks, XDQ. I would love to hear one from the 88 Clemson game or maybe the 2007 Boston College game.
Oh, all right. Yeah, that's not a bad one. What was the 07 Boston College game? Was that the one where all the Oh, no, that was 08. So 07 Boston College, was that the first year they were in the league when
No, that was 05. 07, is that Matty Ice, Geno Hayes?
Oh, yeah. That's the pick six to ice it. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, that'd be a good one. And Drew Weatherford threw for a bunch of yards in that game, too. Yeah, that would be a good one. And 88 Clemson would be an all-timer. Hopefully, maybe we can get Leroy Butler on after he's been inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Okay.
That would be cool.
I like that.
To talk about that. Although, really, it's like that's the all-time famous play, the punt Ruski, and Butler was at the heart of it. But he also, he wasn't the star of that team, and I don't know what kind of impact he had on defense in that game. So would we rather talk to a guy that played 70 snaps or talk to the guy, like how much could Leroy Butler talk about like the flow of the game? We're getting way too into it. Sorry, guys. We're going to have a production meeting about our war chats after the show.
But I don't know about you guys. I'd really like us to talk about the team that we're going to see on the field this summer. I don't think we'll have the need to do those, but again, you put it into the atmosphere. Important people listen to the show who dictate decisions, and maybe there'll be a triumphant return to the war chat. We'll see.
Let's hope. I mean, you know me. I love doing them, and it was great for what we had to have at the time because obviously nothing was being played. We had nothing to talk or write about. But yeah, maybe it's something that holds over even after we're back to reality. Much like the bottom line scroll on CNN, Aslan. Do you know when that was born? I might have told you this before.
No, you never have. I'd remember this if you had.
I'm almost positive. I guess I should know for sure. But the running bottom line scroll was 9/11. That's when that was debuted, and then it just became a part of our lives.
If you would have said 2001 over under, I would have said before then.
Yeah, me too. But I'm almost positive because I was like, okay, when are they going to stop with all the stuff at the bottom and just like be back to normal? Not that I watched a ton of CNN back then, or even now I don't do that. I don't know. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's just when I noticed it first. But I'm pretty
sure. Verifiable fact.
No, it's not. Hey man, I can half truth and 3/4 truths. Who cares?
Looking to buy a home? Who isn't? First, though, you'll need someone in your corner, so turn to the experience and savvy of Home Financial Group. Home Financial Group offers products for any prospective buyer, whether FHA, VA, conventional, or commercial loan, and hard money for investors looking to generate wealth. Get a hold of Ryan. He's a Nole, 954-358-9247, 954-358-9247, and his team can put together a fully documented pre-approval so you can search with total confidence. NMLS number 1314679, Sunrise, Florida. All right, number 2. What is your most memorable play from the Dynasty era?
Oh, jeez.
XDQ004 says his, or maybe hers. Devin Bush interception to seal the 93 win over Miami. After that game, I knew we were going to win it all. Appreciate all you guys do. Go Noles!
Man, that's a tough. I mean,
this is
1,000
lame.
of them.
You're all going to be like, boo. Man, Winky to Snoop, Clemson, just holding on the hip. It was like innovative. Never seen anything like it. It was so much cojones. I just remember, like, we were in my apartment in Orlando watching that game on a little combo, like 19-inch, tube TV and VCR, and we're just, watching it on TV, and we just there's like 4 of us in there watching the game, but we just jumped out of our seats. We're like, oh my God, what did he just do?
Yeah, that's not it. It's a really cool play though. But I would say, man. There's the Peter Warrick had 10 of them, but I think my all-timer is the punt Ruski and Ward to Dunn. Okay, I think are 1 and 1A. Peter Warrick's catch against Virginia Tech. There's so many of them, but I would say those two. If you had to pick one, I think I'd go with Ward to Dunn because it propelled them to a national title. Okay. By the way, I just found it. At 10:49 a.m., 21 minutes after the collapse of the World Trade Center's North Tower, Fox News launched its scrolling news ticker at the bottom of its screen, featuring the latest facts and headlines. CNN followed suit within 20 minutes, and MSNBC debuted its own news ticker at 2 p.m. So, guys, again, yeah, we talk about Florida State sports. It's by and large a Florida State-centric show. But you're going to learn something, too, about history, about life, about whether Corey's mom has been vaccinated. A lot of info out there for you guys to have and hold and appreciate. So, again, you're welcome.
Okay. All right. You say Ward to Dunn. I say Winky to Snoop. Well, I mean, that's real cusp Dynasty era. I'm at the end of it. But nonetheless, maybe we could flip it. Like, what's our favorite celebration from a Dynasty era play? Like maybe Seabass in the swamp.
Oh, that was a good one. Yeah.
Dexter Carter putting the flag on homeboy.
Yeah, that wasn't even a celebration. That was like, hey, dummy, you celebrated. And, he got a penalty for that, for, just taunting the guy. I guess that was a celebration, but it was after after Willis had just thrown an interception. I would say, I can't do it. Warrick Dunn holding his ear up, holding his hand to his ear in the Orange Bowl after, an 80-yard run was a really good one. Back when, they let them do that. Dion, even before he'd field a punt, just when he was going back to get to the punt, just throwing his arms up, look how awesome I am, and they haven't even punted it yet. That was always really fun too.
A. Conrad 99. I think not following the rules either, but it's okay. They've been around since 2015. This is only their 11th ever post, so. Next time, let us know where you're from, A. Conrad. Give us a famous person from there, all right? Got it? Good. I love you. Would you rather have Marvin Wilson and Tamorrion Terry back for another year or Andrew Parchment and Keir Thomas for 1 year? Assume everything else remains the same. Existing transfers, recruiting class, 2020 knowledge, learnings, etc. Yeah, man. Yeah, I would.
What was the first part? Marvin and Tamorrion?
Marvin and Tamorrion, or Kansas receiver and South Carolina defensive lineman. Parchment or Keir Thomas. And Keir Thomas, rather. Yeah, they're all health. I don't know. We were saying, assuming everything else remains the same. Are we talking about their health and their buy-in?
I think he's talking about maybe Terry not being maybe the most coachable with this new staff. And maybe Marvin. I don't know. I was thinking maybe Marvin having what he had happen in the summer. If all that was still a part of the team, I guess it would be if everything else still remained the same.
Well, if you're talking,
you would rather have Tamorrion Terry than Andrew Parchment.
If we're talking February or not February, it's January, whatever. Whatever today's date, January 21st, 2020, and it's like, yeah, Marvin and Tamorian Terry, like I was much more optimistic about those two guys returning than I am about these two guys being here. Not to say that they're not going to be good pieces, but Parchment's going to help out. So is Keir Thomas. It gives you some versatility on the defensive line. These are things you need, obviously. But no, man, like a year ago, it was like, oh my gosh, I mean, these are the two biggest recruits that Mike Norvell got, is getting these guys to stick around. I remember like being in El Paso at the Clarion Hotel, and Ira's like, dude, Marvin's coming back. And he's like, oh wait, so's Terry. I'm like, oh my God, and yeah. So, but hey, the bar is low. All you got to do is outproduce a guy that played, 3 games, and the other guy who played 4?
Yeah, I was going to say, they're not going to be as good as the 2019 versions. Of course, not even close. But they should both, you hope, be better than the 2020 versions.
That was a pretty solid year in 2019 for Terry, right?
Yeah. 1,100 yards, whatever it was, and 12 touchdowns, and he was literally the only guy to throw to.
Well, if you listen to Irish O'Fell, there's not a lot of guys to throw to right now, so maybe Parchment fills the void, fills the vacuum.
Yeah, that's true.
Bradley Moss, 22. Way up. B. Moss here. I became a fan in the early 1990s and have been a fan ever since. I just love the colors, the spear on the helmet, the Warchant. The Peter Warrick era is what really set it off for me. He was my idol and was the main reason I wanted to play receiver and even wore the number 9 my first year playing football in high school back in 2000. Till this day, I have yet to see anyone as electrifying and elusive as P-Dub. Anytime he touched the ball, it could be a house call. Maybe only Reggie Bush comes close to that I can think of. Anyone come to mind for you guys?
Yeah, Reggie Bush, Tavon
Jackson,
Austin.
sure.
Who'd you say?
Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, different position, but yeah, definitely. Jordan Travis, of course. Tavon Austin at West Virginia. But yeah, Reggie Bush was probably a little bit, very, very similar, just different positions. But yeah, I would say, honestly, if you want to talk about the 2 Florida State players that maybe had the biggest impact on young players, and being like everybody rooted for them and thought it was Deion and Peter Warrick. Deion he brought that, everybody knows what Deion brought to Florida State with his brashness and everything. And then Peter Warrick was just so electric. I'm sure kids in high school would be like, when they got to school on Monday, did you see what he did? Like he was one of those guys, the guys you had to watch. So those 2 guys were very, very important.
Devontae Smith this past year.
Yep. He was different. Like he wouldn't shake people like Peter Warrick. I mean, yeah, I guess he would. I shouldn't even finish that sentence. Yeah, no, he was he was really good. I voted for him for the Heisman.
That Tony kid from Florida scared me too. Like whenever that kid touched the ball, it was like, uh-oh. Not to the degree of Peter Warrick, obviously, though, but that, in recent memory here, prisoner of the moment, recency bias and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, it was good times. Good times being able to root for a team with that guy on it. But
Yeah, that was fun.
Anyways, I'm loving the podcasts and live shows here in the offseason. You guys stay on the grind, which is very much appreciated. Keep up the great work, fellas. And as always, go Noles. Thanks, Bradley Moss, 22. Well, if you like Pete up so much, how come you're not Bradley Moss 9? He's Bradley Moss 22. What's up with that, Corey?
I think Bradley Moss 9 was probably already taken.
Okay.
Yeah.
Speaking of 22, Big Steve-O 22.
Here we go.
What is up, fellas? I've enjoyed the content from the new transfers and detailed breakdowns from Corey and Ira. A couple things that have stuck out are the emphasis on leadership and the fact that all transfers pretty much said that Norvell and crew, in a sense, did some background checking. It seems like they are definitely wanting to unite the locker room, but at the same time got guys who can come and produce day one. If anything, what has been your biggest surprise about the offseason transactions? I mean, that they happened.
Yeah,
it's incredible. They went 3-6. They got Mackenzie Milton. They got Jermaine Johnson to leave Georgia. Incredible. Jamie Robinson's got full tread on the tire. He's going to be 20 in a few days. He started like 2 seasons in the SEC. They're coming here. Went 3-6. It's horrible.
He started in the SEC. He started in the SEC as an 18-year-old.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's it. I do think, again, it is encouraging how they talked about Norvell and just the due diligence he did, and also the fact that they were, people, obviously these guys are very, very active in the portal. That's become evident when you talk to these guys, because I think they're looking at it like you guys probably look at it. Like, oh, there's one. Let's call him. Like when those Tennessee guys hit the portal, Florida State coaches aren't just sitting on their thumbs. Like, oh, man, I wonder if I'm sure if there's some sort of connection or a way to reach out, they are reaching out, and they want them to know. If they wanted them here, like the offensive lineman, or maybe the linebacker that you say is not very good, but that everybody loves, they would be reaching out to him immediately. They're not going to be caught napping, it wouldn't appear. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Clemson, even Dabo announced whenever that was, a day or two ago, that he's reshuffling his staff a little bit. And one of the guys is going to an off-field role where he's basically going to be he's going to be in charge of the portal. Like evaluating portal people. I mean, that's the wave of the future, but I feel like Norvell and company, a lot of it because they needed it. It was necessity based, but they were involved in the portal right away and at a breakneck speed almost, man. I mean, they were calling everyone that they thought could be a fit, which is good, man, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Ira mentioned this to me the other day when we were playing tennis. I forgot to bring it up when Gator Kirk asked on the live show the other day, but what they're going to do with Carlos Loughlin, who's going to replace him. I think there was like some sort of, potential discussions because what he did was high school relations coordinator, and right now you can't visit campuses. Kids can't come visit you. You can't go to their school. It's all this dead period stuff. Who knows how long all of it's going to last. So maybe you bring in a guy that he's just the portal dude. I mean, his job is to stay on the portal and be able to pull the names off and run them and see and reach out to the coaches and the contacts and get a good sort of grasp of some context around these kids and their careers. And then you kind of go from there. I mean, you literally probably need somebody full-time now on your staff that worries about the portal. I mean, that's, it's adapting. You have to.
Yeah, exactly right. And they did it. They just seem to be ahead of the curve that over.
They had a really good pitch, man. Like, yeah, they knew what to do. I mean, biggest surprise getting Mackenzie Milton, the injury. You get 1 year. Not a lot. The top flight programs don't want a 1 year quarterback thing. So I mean, in terms of places that are in desperate need of somebody coming here for 1 year to play quarterback, like Florida State is at the top of the list. So that's kind of like a pretty good marriage. But like the Jermaine Johnson thing is incredible, really. I mean, you got a guy that was playing at Georgia, really productive for them, and is like, I'm gonna go down to Tallahassee and play for the 106th ranked total defense. That's a big. These are positive things. I hope people don't think I'm criticizing anything. I'm pointing out how rough 2020 was, but that just makes everything that much more crazy to wrap your head around, and kind of gives you kudos to the staff for having a good message that they pitch to these kids, because it's amazing. 3-6, Jermaine Johnson. You want to come down here? We'll let you you chase a quarterback to your heart's content.
Sold. Right. Sold. Amen, brother. Amen.
Basketball-related, Big Steve 22 comes in with, how much do you think Coach Leonard Hamilton and crew drilled the importance of free throws? Man, I can remember that outside a couple players in the past, we just were not a very good free throw shooting team. But it's not like a shock if someone misses one. Not sure if you guys were watching the television telecast of the game, but some on ESPN believe that we may not make it to the Final Four, but could very well eliminate a potential top 4 team. Thoughts? I did hear Seth Greenberg. Seth Greenberg and LaFonso Ellis were like they're a Final Four team.
Yeah, I thought the guy calling the game though, and I can't remember who it was. I should.
Was it McDonough?
I thought it might have been. No, well, the analyst. And I thought he said,
Jimmy Dykes.
I don't think they're a national championship team. But I might have misheard him. I thought that's what he said. But they can beat a team that could win a national championship. Something along those lines. And look, they aren't as good as Gonzaga and Baylor. If you've watched Gonzaga play, it's incredible.
They were the Alabama.
But look, right. Alabama hit 23 threes in a game. But that doesn't mean if Gonzaga played Florida State 10 times, they'd win 9 of them, probably. But there's that one, and basketball is a goofy sport, and if you get hot and the other team misses and you guard them like they haven't been guarded and make it hard for them, you never know. It's hard to win 6 games in a row like that, but Florida State's not as good as they were last year. They just you don't lose 2 lottery picks and stay the same. They're good though. They're good enough. And I think that's what we kind of got to realize now watching this team is that when they play well, they are certainly good enough to go on a run. Absolutely. Absolutely. They are. They got experience. They got young talent. They play hard. They play selflessly. They're fun to watch. And if they can keep up this free throw shooting, that really helps too.
Thanks for the question, Big Steve-O. Let's keep it moving here. As my computer freezes up, so I'm stalling. It's Matt AMCZ next up. Wake up! With additions like Jermaine Johnson and Keir Thomas, how much of an increase do you expect in our sack and quarterback hurry production in 2021, and does that alone make a difference of 1 win? Maybe more? Thanks for all you do. Go Noles! Here we go.
That'll go up, right? That'll go up for sure. I don't know what the war is for something like that, but yes, they will be a better defense if they can rush the passer.
675 defensive snaps played last season, 675.
Yep.
125 pressures. So we'll round it up to 19. So on 19% of these plays were they able to pressure the quarterback. Now, I don't know, probably should look at the pass reps really to do it more accurately, but that's not readily available. They just give you the total raw number of the snaps, not pass and rush plays. But man, if you can, that was the whole thing where I totally missed like a lot on the defense.
And that also seems like a lot. I don't know what they count as a pressure.
Well, also you can have more than one guy can pressure a certain play.
on the same play, you could have 2 guys pressuring on the play. But also, I'm more interested in QB hits than pressures necessarily.
24 hits. They hit the quarterback 24 times in 9 games.
Yeah. So again, so that means they had 9 sacks, and there were 15 other times where they hit the quarterback. That's an absurdly low amount. That yes, of course you will be better on defense if you can rush the passer, and if you're better on defense, you should be you should win a game or 2 more.
Well, the one thing that I was way over-optimistic and really missed the mark on was just Josh Kando and a pass rush. Just figured that one of these guys would step up and find a way. And the whole thing was if Kando can be what we think he is, he's like the one singular player that could have the biggest impact on the way that 2020 would work out. And, he did not live up to the billing when it comes to pass rush. He graded out at 66.2. I think Jermaine Johnson's going to do a little bit better than that. I do think, Keir Thomas, again, gives you some more versatility. Hopefully, maybe they find another guy here in the portal. Dennis Briggs, they got him listed as a defensive end, although I don't think he's twitchy and pass rush specialist kind of guy.
Right.
But if Jermaine Johnson can be what we think Josh Kando was going to be to 2020, I'd say that's like 2 more wins, I think. It's 2 more wins when you play an ACC schedule. I think if you can pressure the quarterback, get to them on a consistent basis.
Yeah.
Because that's what they did against North Carolina, and they won that one. I mean, that's when it comes like playing a quality caliber opponent and then being able to pressure the quarterback. That was pretty much the only time they showed up, and they won that one. So
yeah. I'm with you, man. I'm with you.
Maybe I should stand up more often. I feel like I'm towering over.
It gets the blood flowing. It gets the optimism just flowing out of you.
I don't like the optimism. I got to stay grounded.
That's not your nature.
It's not.
It feels a little odd hearing you, but I like it, man. It's great.
Random_John, good morning, you treasured gentlemen. Well, thank you, John. First, I became a Noles fan during the mid-'80s. My dad would have games on the little television or radio we had in BFE, and from there, a lifelong love was born. What game? You remember what specific game, Random John? Or
did he say mid-'80s or early '80s?
Mid-'80s.
You know what I did one time? I don't think I've ever told that on this show.
Sure.
In 1980, so I was 7 years old. My dad went and it was the weirdest thing now that I look back on it. They had the regionalized back then. They would have regionalized games where like half the country would watch Miami, Florida State.
Yes.
And the other half would watch, I don't know,
Northwestern
Georgia and Penn State.
Purdue, yeah.
So in Atlanta, they were showing. Let's just say the Auburn Georgia Tech game.
Okay.
So my dad, we drove to Macon and rented a hotel room just to watch the Florida State Miami game. I just remembered that. We said that had to be 82. Yeah, that was the 82 Florida State Miami game. We drove, maybe I'm making up Macon, but we definitely drove south to somewhere in South Georgia and rented a hotel specifically to watch the game, then got in our car and drove back home.
That is the best story you've said on this show.
And I don't think people of a certain age realize how lucky they are that they get. It's never a question like, oh, is that going to be on this week?
Right.
I mean, literally every single Florida State basketball game, you can watch it somewhere. I didn't watch a Florida State I watched like one every 3 years when I was growing up. In football, yeah, it would be like 3 games a year you might be able to see. The other ones you had to listen to on the radio or go to a sports bar that hopefully had the closed circuit TV where you could watch it. So that's how much my dad. And this was 1982. Now it wasn't 1992. It was a good program, but it wasn't the best in the country. And he still drove to Macon with his 7-year-old son. He got me on weekends. And one of our weekend days was driving to Macon. Yeah. And I'm sure he's like, yeah, we're going to watch the Florida State Miami game. Oh, that'll be fun. Well, we're going to a Comfort Inn. We're going to watch it. Corey's going to sit on the one bed and probably play with his toys, and I'll watch the game.
Did you guys stay the night there, or did you head back up?
No, that's what I'm saying. We drove back as soon as the game was over. He didn't want to stay in that hotel. He wanted to go back home.
Oh, man. Why did you go to Buffalo Wild Wings? There wasn't a Buffalo Wild Wings.
That's right.
That's fantastic, man. I love that. Okay, second question from random_John. You already, as like a spoiler, you already answered it earlier. Second question, if you could pick last year's FSU basketball team or this year's basketball team to win it all, maybe that's different, to win it all, which would you choose and why? So I don't know if the question is like which one's better, which one you choose. Trent.
Yeah.
Trent should have been
either
the
way,
guy.
the answer is last year, because almost all of the guys on last year's team were on this year's team too. So if you're doing it from a likability standpoint, but also if you're just doing it from who had a better chance, look, they had 2 lottery picks, 2 guys that could really, really guard. They could get their own shots. They could get offensive putbacks and could shoot free throws at the end of the games. You just think about Florida State late in games last year and how good they were. They were good the whole time. But other than Clemson and Duke, I guess to a certain extent, they didn't lose games in the final minute. They won games in the final minute. They could hit free throws. They could guard. And I just think that was an all-time team. I think this team is very good. And I'm not saying it can't, but I think if this team played last year's team would win. Because, again, you don't just lose two lottery picks. Patrick Williams starts in the NBA. Devin Vassell gets real minutes in the NBA right now. Without a preseason, without a summer league, they're that good already. That's how good they were last year. So that was an all-time team. It's a shame we didn't get to see it.
Are you going to go back and do a story on pass rush grades? I was just thinking about the fact that I let you down and didn't give you specifically the amount of pass defense snaps they ran last year, and then to give a percentage of the amount of pressures they were able to get. I feel like that's just calling.
Maybe I might look into something like that. Sure, buddy. Okay. Yeah.
Last one from random_John for fun. In 40 years, so let's go to the year, my gosh, 2061.
Yeah, jeez Louise.
Hopefully I'm here. In 40 years, what do you feel Florida State sports fans will be nostalgic for? Y'all don't want the answer. I'll go. You go ahead, Corey.
Man, that's 40 years. I probably wake up Warchant. I can't be doing this when I'm in my 80s.
We'll
my
do
mind won't
cognitive
work
tests
like
every
that.
year.
Yeah, we'll do that, sure, but I just don't know that I'm you can tell if you listen to me enough. I'm already losing it a little. So yeah, that's my answer.
Camera. Is that the cognitive test?
Oh,
woman,
yeah,
TV,
right. Yeah, woman.
Actress,
yeah, whatever
camera.
that was. That's what a world. Yeah. So I think that's what you guys are probably gonna. Warchant will still be around. Obviously, Warchant will be dominating things. But Wake Up Warchant, I don't know. They might have to get some new hosts. We might have like a great send-off party when I'm 75 or something.
I don't want to upset people this early in the morning, but I got to say what's on my mind as my glasses fall off my face. Maybe that's my sign not to say it. I mean, 40 years from now, they're going to be nostalgic for that horse and that guy on that horse and that spear.
Maybe that chant.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah. Let's hope not, but that's a very good
if we're doing Family Feud, that'd be the number one answer.
Yeah, you're probably right. That's a good answer.
Steve Harvey will still be hosting Family Feud, a hologram, 40 years from now, I bet. Last one, Corey, we did it. We made it. Old Dad's a Nole. Wake up. No caps, no exclamation marks, just proper formatting. Wake up. So I looked at the 2021 schedule and have predicted the Vegas win total will be 7.5. I shouldn't say this out loud. Did they drop the schedule on us and I didn't see it? I don't know who we're playing. Do we have a schedule yet?
I mean, you know who you're playing, right? It's not like this year where they're going to mix and match at the beginning. It's a normal, you're going to be playing the ACC Atlantic. You're going to be playing Miami. And then you're going to be playing the non-conference games. Notre Dame.
Yeah, but I don't know who's our rotational opponent out of the Coastal. I don't know when these games are configured. I don't know what day is it Miami and Clemson back to back? Is there a bye week thrown in there?
Yeah. That we don't know, but who they're playing we know.
All right. Anywho, to that point, Old Dad's and Nole is going to predict that Vegas is going to predict the win total to be at 7.5. Curious to hear what you guys think as far as the over and the under.
I would put it at 6.5.
Okay.
I wouldn't put it at 7.5 at all. That seems high. Because who's gonna pick this team to win 8 games?
Coco Noles.
Yeah, I mean, that makes money for a living doing this. I didn't know. No offense, just people, professional gamblers aren't. I mean, they're gonna hammer the under if it's 7.5.
We're playing UMass next year.
Yeah, buddy.
What? Okay, so Sunday, September 5th, Notre Dame.
Yep.
Quick turnaround. Saturday, you got Jacksonville State coming back. Then the only other dates that are set: October 23rd, UMass. Gators, November 27th. And then it looks like we still get Carolina as the other coastal rotator, and that'll be at North Carolina. We're at Wake, we're at North Carolina, at Clemson. We shouldn't say at Clemson. At Boston College.
Mm-hmm.
Although I don't know, man. I don't know. Like Boston College, we should probably keep them on the same rotation on who gets the host on what year. So, I don't know, man. Let's do it, Corey. Let's go. Notre Dame, I don't know. Jacksonville State, that's a win. UMass, that's a win.
All
Syracuse
the rest,
is a win.
the rest, who knows? Yeah. Literally, who knows to all the other ones?
Yeah, gosh. There's only 3. I'd set there over under like 5, 6. Hold on, maybe 6.5. Put the hook on you.
Yeah, I think you put the hook on there. I'd do either 5.5 or 6.5. I think 6.5 is the right number.
I'm stoked, man. Walt Bell's coming home.
Yeah, finally, back where he belongs.
Yeah, that's great. That's gonna be cool. I'm gonna reach. I'm gonna reach out to UMass now and see if we can get him on the show. Maybe like in the off season. I don't know if he'll want to talk to us the week of the game, but just hey, man, let's just go down the memory lane, man. Like everything's all kind of quelled. I'm cool. I mean, a lot of people don't like him though. Still, I never had a problem with the guy. But I have a theory about that, but I don't know if I can say it on the show.
Well, you save it for another show.
All right, second part. Also, in my opinion, Old Dad's a Nole, that is. FSU needs exactly what North Carolina did 2 years ago. No, I don't mean go 7-6 so much as what they almost did to Clemson. Taking that team to the wire with it coming down to a conversion, deciding it, did far more than winning 7 games. And, of course, building on that helped. And, by the way, on that play, Clemson looked like they had 14 players on defense. What I would give for the Noles to look like that again. See you in the spring, Old Dad.
Okay, Old Dad. That's a good point. Like, quit getting blown out by your rivals.
Yeah, play Notre Dame to the wire on opening weekend, man.
Yeah, quit getting blown out by your rivals. And quit getting blown out by anybody that's really good. Like, hang with them. Like North Carolina, that was a big one. Win or lose, winning was much bigger and better, although they carried that over into Louisville and just thud. But I do think that, if you can play two of these games close, that gives people reason for optimism. Otherwise, it looks a whole lot like the old guy. Like, go out there and compete and play hard against a good team, be in a game in the fourth quarter. That's why that Notre Dame, North Carolina back-to-back, you thought, oh, man, this is happening quicker than we thought. And then it fell back into madness. But yes, let's see more of that. Let's see more of the Notre Dame. Like, Florida State fans that was a 1-1. They were 1-1. You know what I mean? That wasn't a great stretch, but Florida State fans were very, very happy with that 1-1. You competed, you played to the final quarter in Notre Dame, final drive, and then at North Carolina, you won. You played 2 games. You've competed with 2 teams that were better than you, and you won one of them. Let's see more of that, guys. Let's see more of that.
Scale of 1 to 5, 1 being great idea, 5 being I lost a brain cell. Why did you say that out loud? Was beating UNC like a bad thing for the 2020 team, but maybe can actually be a good thing for 2021? What I mean by that sort of is like false hope. Like maybe that team didn't deserve. I'm sorry to use such strong language. Like maybe that team with their work ethic and their buy-in and their preparation maybe didn't deserve to enjoy the fruits of beating a top 5 team, because they promptly then proceeded to kind of regress and play about as bad as we'd seen them usually. But I think with the people that have left, the guys that were around, like that feeling gives them something to chase and to feel hopeful for, and then maybe that kind of propels them.
I think that's why it was needed. They got to see it. They got to see when they play well and play hard and everything else that they can hang with and beat a good team like that. That program desperately needed that. So they do have that. They have that knowledge. They can hearken back to that. I think that's a good thing. Whether you think the 2020 team deserved it or not, they deserved it because they won that game. But more than that, it was what it could do propelling the team forward.
Yeah,
I do think that was a big night.
There's obviously, I'm not trying to say there's anything bad about being a top 5 team, but just like the 2020 team did not capitalize on it at all, obviously. So like, is there hope that 2021 can? Because I mean, who beats a top 5 team and then proceeds to go into the tank the rest of the season?
Yeah, weird.
That team
weird.
is
It's weird.
Amazing.
It's odd. It was an odd thing to watch.
That's a bit of a downer to end on. I didn't mean to do that. It's awesome, though. They did beat a top 5 team, and then who knows, man? They got plenty of opportunities next year. I'm sure Notre Dame will still be, even though they lost everybody, they'll probably be top 10.
Clemson might be, since their whole defense is coming back.
Yeah. So, all right. Feel good about it. UMass.
All right.
Walt. My man. All right. Good stuff. All right, we're going to do a live happy hour on Thursday, 5 p.m. on YouTube. Not sure who the starting 4 is going to be, but it could be any of us. It could be me, Corey, Gene, Ira, Michael Langston. So do join us, 5 p.m. YouTube live. We'll talk shop. We'll talk Noles is what we'll do. Corey, you gonna rock, paper, scissors, Ira for it, or are you just going to totally just be like, my turn? My time.
I feel like maybe Langston takes the day off and it's us 4, or maybe Gene takes the day off. We'll see.
Okay.
We'll see. I feel like I'm definitely doing it. And so you guys already have a reason to tune in.
There you go.
Because Daddy's going to be there.
There you go. He's Corey Clark, senior lead writer for Warchant.com. I'm Aslan Hudjavandi. Thanks for listening to Wake Up Warchant, presented by Zaxby's. Indescribably good.
And now, a math lesson. Let's say the Zaxby's chicken finger plate comes with 4, 5, or 6 hand-breaded fingers and 1 side of Zax sauce. Plus, you can try them with Zax sauce, honey mustard, hot honey mustard, tongue torch, teriyaki, wimpy, nuclear, barbecue, ranch, sweet and spicy, insane. How many possible combinations does that make? Carry the 2 with a remainder... a lot. Zaxby's chicken finger plate. The sauceabilities are endless.